welcome to this week's edition of the Don't Argue. Of course, all thanks to Palmerbet and Gids.
Mate,
You
look at
plucked the
these.
jumper out, big fella. How good is that?
Outstanding. Made a little upgrade from the shirt. Nice time of the year to slip on the sloppy Joe. Yeah.
Mate, nice jumpers too, aren't they, the Palmy? We
Mate.
might be able to get some of these to give away, Gids, do you
Yeah.
reckon? Like to the punters out there that interact with us the most.
Yeah. Mate, their
you might
merch
be
has
able to
been
get your hands.
outstanding over the last couple of weeks, us filming. It's doing a bit of filming, mate, us boys for Origin, and now slipped in a little sloppy Joe for us as well, which is beautiful.
I love it, mate. I've got the beanie on this week. It's the
Yeah.
actual Sparky that's doing me sparking at my house, mate. So a little bit of a plug for him.
Mate, looks good.
Hey, listen, let's have a look back. And I don't even want to get to the tips, mate, because last weekend we were sitting in these seats and I actually made the comment, Gids. I said to you, I reckon this is as straightforward a round as we'll ever see. All the faves will win, and they'll win comfortably. I went none from five. Mate, you've gone 2 from 5. Every outsider got the job done last weekend. It was unbelievable. It was only 5 games, of course, but that was amazing.
Yeah, how's that? 0 from 5. You go. I mean, I've only gone 2, but I tipped the Eels as an upset first game.
Yeah.
And what else did I get? I got the Raiders, did I? I got the Raiders.
And the Raiders.
But
yeah. Every game, Gids, was the outsider that won in the 5 games.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know what that multi would have been, because I'm tipping it would have been huge, mate. And while we're on it, your Gids get on last week. Knights 13 plus, David Armstrong 2+ tries.
Yeah.
Your Knights let you down, mate. And well, I went the 13 plus special. So I went the Sharks, Knights, Panthers, Dolphins, Roosters, all 13 plus, and got absolutely towed up there, fair to say. Yeah, we've had a bad week.
That's
tipping,
an absolute write-off, mate. There was only 5 games. Absolute write-off.
Mate, we put that to one side, Gids, and we move on. We just keep pushing forward, big fella. Hey, let's have a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly last week, all thanks to Palmerbet. And our man Kyle, he doesn't let us down, does he, mate? He's the Dragons' #1 ticket holder. And, well, he's got this as the good. The Dragons knock off the Premiers. Unbelievable. 10-0 down at half time. The Big Red V came back to score 22 unanswered points in the second half. It was a really, really impressive performance coming up against the quality side. It's always a little bit hard to kind of line it up, Gids, isn't it, with Origin players missing and stuff like that, isn't it?
Oh, man, how the hell could you pick the Dragons to beat the Panthers without Ben Hunt and the team? Mate, yeah, as you say, they were, what was it, 10-0 down? Yeah, 10-0 down. I think it was the week before they were 12-0 up or something and got thrashed in the second half. So
yeah,
how do you read that? They've had 4 halves and they've only been successful in 2 of them, and it's been opposite halves, opposite weeks. So unbelievable, big win though. Congratulations to them, big win. They're at Wynn Stadium this week, so potentially back to back. They've got something there at Wynn Stadium. I'm telling you, something in the wind there with them.
And our man says we aren't allowed to tip them. All right, so it's all the message on the WhatsApp group. Just you blokes stay away from us. But we might have some sad news for him coming up not too far away, because I'm pretty keen on him this week. Hey, the bad, mate, I have to go there. The Knights, big fella, they were disappointing against the Bulldogs, mate. 32 drubbing at the end of the day. And, to be honest, the players that the Bulldogs had out, it's disappointing, isn't it, Gids?
Oh, mate, they had a number of injuries, plus Crichton and Origin, and it was poor. Like, it was coming off of it was 4 wins in a row, going into a bye, so they picked up 10 points, got them into 7th place. 22,000 people at McDonald Jones Stadium in a cold and uncomfortable wet night, and it was a poor effort, to be honest. So it was pretty underwhelming for most of the fans who turned out. It was obviously, disappointing and frustrating from a player and coach's point of view, but mate, also great performance by the Dogs to come to Newcastle on a night like that and score 32 points, but to keep them to 2 points. The Knights, they had a really good opportunity through Greg Marju on the left-hand side at one stage, and he should have scored that. I just didn't think he was committed enough in the way he should have attacked the line, or he should have passed it inside. I think that was a fair turning point and probably an indication of their night, the Knights. So good win by the Dogs, shocker by the Knights.
Yeah, put a line through that one too, kids, like our tipping last week. Now, the ugly. Want to get to this. A lot of discussion at the moment in regards to the injury crisis, Origin. Obviously wasn't a super week of footy last weekend. Is it time, Gids, to bring a season in separate for Origin? Like this week, obviously between Origin stars not playing, the current run of injury, over 100 first graders didn't line up for round 13.
Yeah.
Is it time for the NRL to step in? Is the discussion getting big enough now, Gids, to have a standalone Origin series over a 3 or 4 week period? What do you reckon, mate?
Oh, I don't know, Matty. I mean, that's a frightening stat. Over 100 first graders not being able to line up for round 13. That's a high stat. And I know that a lot of them this year have been soft tissue injuries. Like even Dylan Edwards, mate, in Origin camp, about to make his debut and strained quad.
Yeah,
There's been a number of hamstring strains and tears this year, and we're only halfway through the competition. So I think Andrew Abdur and the NRL team, Peter Valinis, would be worried about the amount of players that are on the sideline. The players are the entertainment of the game. The fans want to come and watch the best players on the field. There's no doubt about
of
that.
course
If
I
you've
do.
got so many sitting there on the sideline unavailable, that's going to raise a few question marks. But I don't know. I don't know if you can have a standalone 3 week rep season in the middle of the year. I think that would take a whole heap of toll on the players that are going to play 2 to 3 Origin games back to back. They did it. They did that during the COVID period at the back end of the year when they played Origin after
Yep,
the season, but that was because there was no international footy and no one could travel outside of Australia. So that worked, but it was because it was at the back end of the year and there was no games post those 3 games of Origin. I'm not sure if you can have the comp go on hold for 3 weeks. I know they're thinking about including some other games from Pacific Nations games to, potentially like an Australia A team and some women's games and etc. But there's still going to be a whole heap of players that aren't playing in those teams as well. So I
that's the
don't
thing,
know.
isn't it?
I don't think
Yeah,
it's going to
yeah,
happen. I don't think it can happen.
yeah. You can't see that working.
No, not at this stage. Unless someone comes up with an idea that I haven't heard of at the moment. I just think it's too much to put the whole competition on hold for 3 weeks. And I don't know, maybe I'm a creature of habit too, because I like the pattern of the Origin players get picked. They go away from their club team for 1 week. They play Origin. They've got an opportunity to back up. Most clubs these days won't back up players, depending on their workload during Origin.
Yeah,
So they'll have that week off. Then they play for their club again the following week. So I don't know. I like that pattern. I used to take real pride in trying to back up for my club team straight after Origin. But a lot of the times now, most of the high performance managers will rest players post Origin. If it's
yeah.
especially sunny, if you're playing Friday night, Saturday night after a big game of Origin, you played 80 minutes. There's too much risk in it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a really interesting talking point, isn't it? And I think I don't know what the answer is, kids. To be honest, I don't think many people do.
Yeah,
It's tricky.
I mean, even Matty, we've had Origins on Wednesday night. Traditionally over the years, then we've had them on Sunday night, standalone, and then the Wednesday again. I don't know. Again, I'm that creature of habit. I like it on a Wednesday night because it's tradition, I suppose. But I'm
Yeah,
open to
yeah.
options, whatever's out there.
Yeah, I know from probably an AFL or a kid growing up watching AFL and growing up with AFL. I love the Wednesday State of Origin. That was probably the one game of the year or the 3 games of the year that you do watch. From an Aussie rules perspective, obviously
Yeah.
watch a hell of a lot more NRL these days. But I think that's the corner of the market that you guys have certainly nabbed and
Well, for
nabbed
sure,
really
mate.
well.
If you think, mate, it's the highest 2 to 3 programs on TV annually every year. So they're getting the eyeballs on the TVs in nationally. All around
Yeah,
Australia. So and unique Wednesday is quite a unique night to have such a huge, entertaining sport on. So it brings a lot of eyeballs from various codes watching on the Wednesday night. And I think the TV companies tip in so many dollars, mate, and all that filters down to salary cap and that sort of thing. So I don't think they'll change it.
I don't think they will either, mate. But hey, listen, let's turn our attention now to this weekend's round of matches. It's going to be a belter of a round too, mate. And as we said, we don't know what's going to happen off the back of Origin. That's always the tricky little part here over this next kind of month or so of footy. Dragons, Tigers, Friday night, 8 p.m. at Wynn Stadium, head-to-head, Dragons at $1.38. Tigers at $3.05. At the line, the Dragons minus $7.5, $1.83. Tigers plus $7.5 at $1.98. Key talking points, all thanks to Palmerbet. Of course, the Dragons coming off a super win against the Panthers. They'll be hoping to get back the Origin players after only 48 hours. That's going to be the big one. That's the quick backup. Tigers coming off the bye. Tigers are looking to avoid their 9th straight loss, Gids. And another loss on the cards. The Tigers have lost 4 of their last 5 to the Dragons and 5 of their last 6 away games this season. So stats don't lie. And they're all pointing towards a Dragons win, which will make a back-to-back victory.
Special. They're special.
Careful, mate. I don't know whether we go here, but I'm thinking the same too, kids.
I'm telling you, Dragons, Wynn Stadium, Wollongong, absolute specials this week. Get on it. Get on it.
We might have a job. We might have a job next week, mate. We might be in trouble. No. I'm all over it. I actually reckon comfortably. If you know what I mean, kids, I actually reckon that their best is good enough, and it has been in patches throughout the year, hasn't it?
Well, as I said, mate, the stats there before, just over the last 2 weeks, they've been the best game in 2 halves, and they've been 2 different halves. Like last week, down by 10, second half was amazing to come back against the Panthers, reigning premiers, and win that game, and played really well. I think the week before was I forget who they played the week before, and they were leading. Had a great first half and come out in the second half.
Got teared up.
So absolute specials this week.
We're both tipping them too, mate. I don't think that's happened very often. Hey, Titans, Rabbitohs, Saturday, 3 p.m. at Seabus Super Stadium. You talk about teams that are going well. Titans are in great nick at the moment, $1.80 favourites. Rabbits at $2 at the line. The Titans minus $1.5, $1.91. Rabbitohs plus $1.5 at $1.89. Key talking points here. Obviously, both teams coming off great wins last week leading into the bye. And it's been a while. Titans have not beaten the Rabbitohs at Seabus Super Stadium since 2009. But I just reckon the Titans are in good nick at the moment, kids. The Rabbitohs, they take a bit out of the victory and a bit of confidence. Can they continue on their winning ways?
Yeah, I think they can, man. I'm just looking at the team. I think Fafita will be up for a big one. Obviously, he missed out on Origin from the Queensland team, I'm going to say, for Queensland. But so I think Fafita will be up for a big one for the Titans. I see Kieran Foran's back too. I know he had a slight hammy strain himself. He's back, but it should be a fair game. I think this one. But I was just looking at the Bunnies team. I see Jack Whiten's playing 5'8". He's in the halves with Cody Walker. Latrell Mitchell at fullback, Alex Johnson in the team.
Pretty strong side, isn't it?
Yeah, Damien Cook, Jai Arrow, Keenan Kalamatara. Yeah, so I think they've got a pretty impressive team. The Bunnies this week and taking a bit of confidence out of last week. I'm on the upset here. Bunnies.
Right, you're going the Bunnies. I'm going to stick with the Titans, mate. I reckon their last month of footy has been very, very good. So I'm going to stick with the Titans to get the job done. Okay. Cowboys, Warriors, Saturday, 5:30 at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Head-to-head, Cowboys, $1.55. Warriors at $2.46 at the line. The Cowboys minus $5.5, $1.90. Warriors plus $5.5 at $1.90. Key talking points. Obviously for the Cowboys, huge comeback against the Chooks despite missing 6 superstar starters last week. The Warriors, they'll be refreshed after having the bye and could have Sean Johnson back into the team. An edge on the Cowboys. Warriors have won 5 of their last 7 games against the Cowboys. I must admit, kids, this is my little value for the weekend. I reckon the Warriors to get the job done at $2.46 head-to-head, mate. That's the way I'm going.
Mate, I'm with you. I'm on the Warriors here as well, mate. I thought it was an impressive win. I enjoyed. I sat back on the lounge. I was folding a bit of washing, mate. Sunday afternoon, folding the washing.
Watching
the footy. I was dead set. Dead set, mate. Having a little mid-strength ale and watching this guy. I enjoyed watching that game. I thought the Cowboys played pretty well, mate. They're consistent through the game. Kicking game was good. They fought and they competed. And they came from behind. The momentum was starting to swing there a fair bit. And the Roosters had an impressive team at home. It was a big win by the Cowboys. But mate, we haven't seen them do it consistently back to back, Matty, this year. So I think that's where you just lose a bit of, certainty for what they can do this week. And mate, I'm looking at the Warriors team. It's a pretty impressive team again on paper. The outside backs are dynamic and pretty tough forward pack. So Mitch Barnett, he's been in Origin camp all week. I think he'll go back to the Warriors with a lot of confidence. You know, he'll be pumped being in that Origin camp for the week. He earned his spot in the top 20 of the Blues team. So I'm on the Warriors, mate. Upset here. I think there's some decent value as the outsider. It's 246 at this stage.
I'm the same, mate. Head to head, I reckon you're right. It's hard to confidently tip the Cowboys on the season they've had. You just lose a bit of confidence in them from time to time. They are a better side up on their home deck, but I'm going the Warriors to get the job done.
They had a stack of, I think they had 5 Origin players missing for that game. So it was almost like an ambush mentality where no one was expecting them to win, and I think they embraced that attitude and they went out there and got it done. So it was a big win. Whether they can turn their season around from that win, yet to be seen.
Another roughie outsider last week that saluted in the last couple of minutes. It was unbelievable. Hey, Broncos Sharks, Saturday 7:35 p.m. at Suncorp Stadium. Head to head, the Bronx $1.52, Sharks at $2.53. At the line, the Broncos -5.5, $1.88. Sharks plus $5.5, $1.92. Key talking points, all thanks to Palmerbet for the Bronx coming off the bye. They'll be hopeful to see the return of their Origin stars. I am too, because this is where my Matty's must-have goes this week. And for the Sharks, they were no match for the Eels last week without their Origin players. They were disappointing, to be honest, last week. You're all over it, Gids. And worrying signs, the Broncos have won 9 of their last 11 games against the Sharks, while the Sharks have conceded 106 points in their last 3 games. So defensively, the Sharks are leaking at the moment, Gids.
Yeah, mate, the Broncos have slipped a little bit too. I'm just looking at where they're fifth on the moment. So they haven't had the greatest, last month, I don't think. So they've slipped a little bit on the table. I think they've slipped a little bit defensively at the moment. It's still an impressive team. It's the match of the round. There's no doubt about that. Both these teams, I guess we suspected they'd be in the top 4.
Expect to go deep.
Yep, in the top 4. So Bronx have just dropped out a little bit at the moment, but both impressive lineups. No doubt it's the match of the round. We think Hines will be rested carrying the calf injury after the Origin game. Reece Walsh, will he back up? I don't think he'll back up. It's only 4 days after Origin. He's going to be playing 80 minutes. So Payne Haas, another one. I'm going to tip the Broncos here, mate. Going to tip the Broncos. I know they're favourites. But I think they'll get it done at home, still with the team that got named.
Yeah, I'm with the Bronx too, mate, and I actually reckon Bronx comfortably here. I've been disappointed with the Sharks the last few weeks, and as long as a couple of the A graders are playing for the Broncos, I reckon they'll get the job done and comfortably. Storm v Knights, Sunday 2 p.m. at Amy Park. Head-to-head, the Storm $1.22. Knights at $4.30 at the line. Storm -12.5, $1.90. Knights plus 12.5, $1.90. Key talking points, of course, the Storm coming off a bye last week. Ladder leaders, they'll be looking to continue their form at home. For the Knights, mate, we've touched on it. Bad loss to the Dogs last week. Doesn't get any easier this week. And which way to go? Storm have won 15 of their last 17 games in Melbourne, but the Knights have won their last 2 games against the Storm. And that sparked you up a little bit, didn't it, big fella, when you heard that last little stat?
Yes. Oh, mate, it's a big task. There's not too many teams that venture down to Melbourne and collect the 2 points and get out of there unscathed, that's for sure. They fight and scrap for everything, Melbourne. They're so tough and resilient defensively. Craig Bellamy, he holds everyone accountable and everyone's disciplined and they know their role within the team. So it doesn't matter who comes in or who changes position, you're expected to do the job that's required in that position. That's the type of discipline Craig Bellamy drives throughout the week, before the game, half-time, and it's going to be a tough one for the Knights. Look, the Knights need a big shift in attitude from last week, that's for sure, and especially defensively. You can't leak 32 points against anyone. If you're fair income about going into the 8 this year and going deep into the semi-final. So it was a blip on the last 5 weeks for the Newcastle Knights. It's a big task to go down to Melbourne. I'm just going to lean towards the Knights here, but with the start. I'm happy with the 12.5 starts. Pretty juicy though for the Newcastle Knights.
Yep.
That's $1.90 with 12.5 start.
Yep.
And they have beaten them the last 2 times. So I think they should go down there not intimidated, but it's going to be a tough, challenging game for them.
Yeah, I actually reckon it'll be a lot closer. I like your thought process there, kids. That 12.5 start might be the way to go.
They got a really unchanged team. There's no one in Orange.
Disappointed last week. They'll be fired up. There'll be a bit of fire in the belly, mate.
Well, mate,
I reckon they.
You never get used to those video sessions where you've been dusted on a Friday night and you're waiting around till Monday to get it knocked over. So it would have been tough and embarrassing, and they want to, resurrect what they didn't do last week. That's for sure.
I'm sticking with the Storm. Sorry, mate, to get the job done. But I reckon it'll be tight. There you go. So I'll give you some kind of a little bit of kudos there, Gids. Hey, Penrith Panthers take on the Manly Sea Eagles Sunday 4:05 at Panthers Stadium. Head-to-head, Panthers $1.35. Sea Eagles at $3.20 at the line. The Panthers minus $9.5 $1.90. Sea Eagles plus $9.5 $1.90. For the Panthers here, the key talking points, stunned by the Dragons in the second half last week. They'll be looking to bounce back. Yeah. Manly coming off a bye and got their number. Panthers have won 8 of their last 9 games against Manly.
Wow.
It's like they've been their little bunny the last few years, hasn't it? Penrith and Manly.
That's a pretty dominant 9 games, isn't it? Or 8 games, that's for sure. That goes over a few seasons. That goes back a few seasons. That one, Matty, that's for sure, mate. Look, you haven't seen the Panthers. Geez, I'd like to find out this stat. How many times have the Panthers lost back-to-back games? I reckon it'd be pretty rare.
Especially in the last 3 or 4 years, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, 4 years, I'd say. It'd be pretty rare that they lost back-to-back games, that's for sure. So you think they'll be all pretty dirty on last week's performance, and they'll want to certainly turn it around against the Eagles this week. Still should be a big game. There's no doubt about that. Both impressive teams when they're on their game. That's for sure. I think the Eagles have been a bit more inconsistent this year with their performances. When they play well, mate, they seem to be one of the best attacking teams in the competition. But they're just there's a bit more inconsistency with the Eagles season than the Panthers. So big game for both clubs. I think the Panthers will get it done.
Yeah, hard to go past the Panthers, mate. And you're right. I can't remember them. Certainly not in our time of 3 years doing this show have we seen back-to-back losses for the Panthers, mate. And, I can't see it happening this weekend. So Panthers for mine. Final game. It is Monday, 4 p.m. at Accor Stadium, of course. So it is the King's birthday weekend. Bulldogs taking on the Parramatta Eels head-to-head. Bulldogs $2.12. Parramatta at $1.72 at the line. The Bulldogs plus $1.5, $2. Eels minus $1.5 at $1.81. Key talking points here. Bulldogs obviously coming off the back of a really impressive win last week. They're looking to string together a few wins across this Origin period. For the Eels, with Moses and Gutherson back, they came to life for the great win against the Sharks. It was a huge win, to be honest. And not a rival. The Eels have won 8 of their 9, or their last 9 games, I should say, against the Bulldogs. That's an interesting stat too, Gigs.
Yeah, Eels have won their last 8 of their 9. Yeah, it's another big stat, that's for sure. I mean, I think it's a bit more of an even playing field than their last 8 losses against the Eels. But and mate, the Bulldogs, I think I heard a stat during the week that one of the best defensive, if not the best defensive team in the competition this year. So yeah, it's a big turnaround, mate, from their last few seasons. And because last year they were the worst. They were the worst defensive team by far. They were getting pumped every week, and Cameron Ciraldo had plenty of sleepless nights. But they've been able to turn it around. They're backing the coach this year. They're backing their belief, and it's shown. So I think it's going to be a tight game. I'm going to go for the Eels for back-to-back wins, mate, with Mitchell Moses, Gutho. And I've got my little Gids get on, mate, multi in this one as well, but I'll get to that soon.
Mate, I'm going the Bulldogs. I'm going the Bulldogs. I reckon Going good. Honestly, I reckon they are tracking along not too bad.
Yeah.
And confidence levels up. And at $2.20 head to head, I reckon it is a nice play.
Just out of the eight
And
too, they are. A win, mate. A win will get them in the eight, yes.
yeah, so there you go, mate. So that is the 7 games this weekend, kids. So I'm just going to go through first. St George, I've gone St George, Gold Coast, New Zealand in a bit of an upset, Broncos, Storm, Penrith, and the Bulldogs in a little bit of an upset. And that's going to be $30.31, all thanks to Palmer Bet. Gamble responsibly, kids. That is the key message, mate.
Absolutely.
What about you, great man? What
Absolutely.
are you doing?
Mate, I'm going to go the Dragons as a special down at Wynn Stadium. The Rabbits, the Wars, Broncos, Storm down there on a Saturday night. They love it. So it's a tough one to tip against my Knights, but I think they need to. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to turn that one around. Panthers, Eels for $26.36 on the Palm Bet app.
So we're pretty similar this week, to be honest, aren't we? We're around the kind of the same kind of dollar value.
Yeah, yeah. What did you go the Dogs? You went the Dogs in the last game. Pretty close. You've got a bit more value, but mate, we need to improve on last week. There's no doubt about that.
Righto, mate. What about the kids get on this week? What do you got for us,
The
big
kids
fella?
get on. I was impressed by the Eels turnaround last week with a couple of their stars coming back, and I'm going to jump on that multi on Sunday afternoon. The kids get on. Eels to win. Total points under 46.5.5. Under 46.5. Anytime try scorers, Maker Sivo, Mitchell Moses, $21.93.
Oh, juicy, big man. That is juicy for a little bit of Sunday football. Well,
Yep.
Matty
That'll
must
be me. That'll
have
be
over.
me. Little mid strength, folding the washing again. Sunday out at footy.
I can just see you, mate, folding the washing and having a couple of little minis. I reckon the shirt will be off too, mate. She'll be just
Oh yeah.
bare chested.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, listen, I'm going back to Broncos Cronulla, and I'm going Broncos 13 plus, which is $2.60, into my man Reece Walsh to score not one try, kids, but 2 tries. So 2 or more tries for the little superstar. He's at 5.50, so that combined is going to get you $9.35.
Okay, all right. Well, mate, you've got some confidence he's going to back up for that game, but
I've just got a little bit of mail, mate. That
bit of
really
mail,
sweet, mate.
mate. You're well connected. You are very well connected. And you know what? He's probably going to want to back up after a tough loss on Wednesday night. He's going to want to get redeem a bit of confidence, mate, after Wednesday night's Origin performance. So he should want to back up too.
And I should preface this by saying we record this on a Tuesday evening for those playing at home, just wondering what the hell we're talking about. But yeah, look, and I know it's exciting, isn't it, kids? Origin, we don't know the results, obviously, by the time this drops, but it's going to be a really intriguing series, mate, isn't it? And, we had a great catch up with our great mate Benny Hannett last week, and a great preview that's been doing the rounds this week on that game one of Origin, buddy.
Nah, outstanding, mate. Huge week. Obviously, it's very exciting, mate, for the players, for the punters, and everyone involved in sport, really. Everyone tunes in to watch Origin. It's the biggest rivalry in the world, I'd say. And back-to-back Origins too. So, yep, New South Wales versus Queensland, the Core Stadium Wednesday night, and New South Wales versus Queensland NRLW Thursday night at McDonald Jones Stadium. Sold out here in Newcastle.
That's massive, mate. Isn't it great to see? Isn't it great to see embraced? It's awesome. The NRL women's.
I knew, mate, if they would bring one of those NRLW Origins to Newcastle, it would sell out. Because people in Newcastle, mate, they just love footy. They don't care if it's men's, women's, and we've seen it with the Knights NRLW home semi-final last year. Huge crowd, so it's going to be an awesome atmosphere.
Love it, mate. You going along Thursday night?
I'll be there.
Love it. Awesome stuff, mate. Fantastic to see. And listen, mate, download that Palmer Bet app. Get involved. As we always say, gamble responsibly and think about what you're really gambling with. And don't forget the Punters Club. It is only about a week away, Gids, from dropping. The Palmer Bet team have been doing a hell of a lot of work. It's really easy.
Bit of banter.
That's what will be the best thing about it, I think. I can't wait. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. That is for sure. Hey, mate, always a pleasure. Look forward to this weekend's round of NRL matches, mate. And, well, fingers crossed for your New South Wales Blues.
Up the Blues.
This week.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.